We would also like to recognize the following seniors around Abraham. Noah Ladue and Ian Funk, please stand up and be recognized. We would also like to recognize the following members of our team. I personally like to thank you for your time, energy, and spirit in making MVU athletics the best it can be. Our school has benefited and has enjoyed your steps and performances for wishing the best of luck in the future. I would announce the following senior with the parents meeting at mid-court. Zoe Fish. Alyssa Coxlow. Staples. We wish all the seniors the best of luck in your future. I would also like to thank Mark Wardo, Ken Fitzsimmons, and Jake Keele for their time in donating the snack bar to support many athletic events and activities. ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Mississippi Valley. For tonight's wrestling contest, we're visiting Dr. Ibrahim Eagles and your Mississippi Valley Thunderbird. This is especially true with respect to a person's race, gender, sexual orientation, religion, national origin, ethnic differences, or disability. We encourage all of our fans to support multi-ethnic to exhibit proper school and community spirit. Failing to comply with these expectations can result in many consequences, up to including the cancellation of this game. We hope that you enjoy today's contest and come back to another Mississippi event in the future. Please remember that Mississippi Valley is a tobacco-free facility, and smoking or use of any tobacco product is strictly prohibited. Students are reminded to leave the building and will not be readmitted to the game. Thank you for your cooperation, and now we start the lineups. We're visiting Dr. Ibrahim Eagles. Number 2, Noah Levin. Number 5, Arden Griffin. Number 11, Hayden Lutz. Number 12, Jacob Cleverly. And number 34, from the Wrestling Eagles, who are coached by Robert Clark, assisted by Corey Parody, John Oxford, and Nick Cook. And now we'll start our lineup for your Mississippi Thunderbirds. Number 5, Ryder Morse. Number 10, Luke Sherman. Number 14, Will Johnson. Number 20, David Rich. And number 21, Kevin Finley. And this is Thunderbird, assisted by Ed. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as we honor America with the singing of our national anthem, performed by Madison Chevalier.
Good evening, everybody. To Northwest Access TV's presentation of Franklin County boys basketball. My name is Bryce Batchelder, joined by John Nielsen, and tonight we are at the Thunderdome in Swanton, or Highgate, depending on who you ask, as the Missisquoi Valley Union Thunderbirds host the Mount Abraham Eagles. Before we get to starters, this broadcast would not be possible without our community partners. Thank you to Northwestern Rehab Services, Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber, Northwest Counseling and Support Services, Afterglow, Stone's Auto Repair, St. Albans, East Fairfield, Notch, Vermont, JC Image, Union Bank, and the Collins Curley Sports and Fitness Center. If your business would like to support the efforts of Northwest Access TV to help broadcast live games of Franklin County athletes, contact 802-782-8676. Now, John, who are our starters for this evening?
For our starters, for MVU, we have senior night, so we have our seniors on the floor to start. Ryder Morris, Luke Sherman, Cole Johnston, Caden Chevalier, and running the certified is Taylor Rich. And for the visiting Mount Abraham Eagles, we have Noah Ledoux, we have Harrison Griffin, Hayden Lutz, Jacob Crowdy, and Ian Funky.
We already have our first foul called on the game. Mount Abraham controlled the tip, called for the offensive foul. Number 34, Ian Funky, that's his first. Team's first three-pointer, no good for Ryder Morse. Rebounded by Griffin for Mount Abe. MVU gonna open up in a 2-3 zone. Funky passes down low. Now kick out to the corner to Ledoux. Back up top to Funky. Funky's three, no good. Long rebound, tracked down by Chevrier.
MVU pretty stout with their opening defensive stance. They've been really relying on their guard play, not only offensively but defensively, to keep their shape and put the rest of the player in the
And we'll get the second foul called of the game, again on Mount Abe. Looks like it'll be on number 5, Harrison Griffin. That's his first. Team second. Remember,
comes in off the heels of a tough defeat to Milton on Tuesday by a razor-thin score of 38. With that loss, it was tough to find the draw, while the Cisco unit, on the other hand, took care of business, winning 59-48 and raising the overall record to 9-8.
if it's not abundantly obvious so far, John has done way more homework than I have to prepare for this game. So he is the professionals this evening. As Funky ties it up for Mount Abe here. Score so far 2-2, minute and a half gone by. Funky with a steal from Mount Abe, pass it forward to Ledoux, but couldn't handle the pass. MVU gets possession back.
Just to clarify, Bryce, stats is my life. So look at data, look at stats, weigh them against each other, both teams, see who's coming in hot.
Long shot, no good for Morse. Offensive rebound goes to Johnston. Johnston gonna pull up for three. That one no good. Another offensive rebound for Sherman. That one no good. Finally rebounded by Griffin for the Eagles. So quite a bit of action early on for both teams here.
Guard play definitely going to come into play here as we get into the latter half of our game. We've yet to see Nicholas, we've yet to see Myers. They are the dynamic duo for the T-Birds, both defensively and offensively.
Well, you can kind of see MVU's strategy defensively early on as Funky weaves through the zone defense. He has all 4 points so far for Mount Abe. That it seems like MVU is really trying to crowd the paint and force Mount Abe to take those long three-pointers, those low probability shots. That time Funky able to weave down low, get a layup. Tabor Rich called for the travel, dragging his pivot foot.
MVU trying to compact the paint, make the Eagles guard it from the outside tonight.
Griffin with the ball, pass up to Lutz. Mount Abe swinging it. Lutz with the drive, finds baseline floater for Griffin, no good. Griffin gets his own rebound. Ledoux drives, and he'll go to the line to shoot two. MVU foul on number 5, Ryder Morse. That's his first, team's first of the first quarter. I feel compelled to remind everybody about this every game because it's new this season. Team fouls now reset after each quarter. 5 team fouls put the other team in the bonus, and there are now no more 1-and-1 free throws. Bonus free throws are now automatically 2 shots. Noah Ledoux misses the front end of his free throws.
We had wholesale changes
Goes 0 for 2. Well, got to get that senior lineup in to start the game here on senior night, and now start to get the normal rotation going. MVU being nice and patient. Outside, Chevrier. Pass to Johnston. Johnston gonna let that one go. A little bit too strong. Reed Myers. Kind of just sneaking in there. One of the smallest guys on the court. Gets the offensive rebound and putback.
He will certainly not be denied his height. Don't let that fool you.
We'll get a jump ball call. Good defense by the Thunderbirds to get their hands on the ball. Yeah, Thunderbirds will be rewarded. 3:49 to go in the first quarter.
T-Birds trying to keep pace with Virginians, who is 1 game in front of them in the Lake Division, as we play out these final games here before playoffs start in about 2 weeks.
Harrison Griffin with the steal. He'll keep it with a left-handed layup. His first points of the evening. Mount Abe now up 6-4. Just under 3.5 to go in the opening quarter. Well, MVU coming in 9-8, a market improvement from the last couple of years for the Thunderbirds. That's what you love to see from a growing program, as Tabor Rich lays that one in.
Absolutely. Foundation was set a couple of years ago, knowing that this group has been playing together for several years. AAU, Mini Metro. It definitely shows that they know where each other is on the court. It makes it so much easier. And their scoring has certainly showed that this year.
Important to note that John was an assistant coach on the varsity team last year, so I'm going to go ahead and give you all of the credit for helping to develop these players.
Well, they are certainly a great group to work with, very knowledgeable, and just wanted to learn and wanted to get better. And they had an absolute awesome senior class last year that really let them know what it meant to be on the varsity team at Cisco.
Johnson holding the ball. Gonna go baseline. Got the space he needed, just short on the shot. And Ian Funky gonna keep it himself. We could hear that slap from here.
Well, that's gonna be 2 on Rich, which means Coach Walker will need to make an adjustment here and see what he defensively.
Foul on Tabor Rich. Team's second foul.
Well, I guess that's only his first. My apologies.
Apology accepted, Chad. Ryder Morse with the other foul, but Ian Funky misses the first.
First quarter, usually a lot of jitters, senior nights. Usually by the second quarter, everybody's settled in. Game plans start to show themselves.
I will say who has already settled in, the MVU student section, who's been bringing the noise and the energy right from the tip.
Absolutely, and the pep band here tonight as well.
Ian Funky with 6 of Mount Abe's 8 points here. Mount Abe with an 8-6 lead, 1:40 left in the first quarter. It's good to see the type of fanfare they now have at MVU home games with the pep band and the cheerleaders, as you mentioned, something that they didn't have when I was a student here and I played here. I love to see it now.
Yes, it certainly brings kids out to show their school spirit, and in a productive way.
Keyword.
Yes, and I know as a player, it's always fun, more fun to play in front of a large fan base.
Absolutely. Let's pass it over to German. German trying to hit the entry pass into the post. Down to Cook. Excellent defense by the Thunderbirds. Like we'd mentioned before, just collapsing down low. Quickly surrounded by 3 Thunderbird defenders. We're gonna get a reach called on Mount Abe. Saw a couple hands in there. End up hitting Myers in the face.
I expect this to be a close game throughout. It was only an 8-point game in Bristol a few weeks ago when these two met up.
A Mount Abe foul called on number 5, Harrison Griffin. That's his second. 3-pointer no good for the Thunderbirds. They're going to catch Drew Taburge reaching in. That will be Taburge's first personal foul, team's third. 46 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. MVU going to put on a full court press.
You'll see variations of that throughout the match.
And Funky blocked by Gage Rember. Those long arms just reaching in from behind.
You can't teach long arms, so that's always a great asset to have on your team.
Don't I know it with my stubs.
There we go.
Stolen by Reed Myers.
Defense to offense.
Oh, yep. Get a goaltending called on Funky. We'll credit that to Gavin Nichols, I believe. So that ties the ball game. Well, referees are going to talk about it for a moment. Looks like, just
going
kind
to
of overhearing it, no goaltend.
No goaltend will wipe it off, but give it to Mr. Scores out of bounds?
Well, they're discussing that. Mount Abe coach lobbying for a jump ball. Matt Walker saying it was MVU's possession. They should still have the ball. Referee's still talking it over. Coach Martin Clark from Mount Abe, I should mention. And we're sort of going to get a de facto timeout here with 32.7 seconds left in the first quarter.
No benefit of a video replay as we would in college, but so trying to put our heads together here and figure this out.
Well, if only they had the Northwest Access TV feed up right now on our YouTube channel. Sometimes that 30-second delay can come in handy. It's not quite like calling to the NBA Review Center, but
I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't come down the pipe a couple years to have that on the scorers table.
Mr. Lumsden, take note. Just another wonderful public service from Northwest Access TV. Have I mentioned we're a nonprofit? So it will be Thunderbird ball. Cole Johnston will inbound on the baseline.
Cole Johnston looking to get off the schneid here. Last couple of games, he's been hit or miss. I think he led the Thunderbirds in the last game they played with 18. The game prior, found some struggles outside. Trying to find his touch. Good. Looks like they may be changing the possession.
They are changing it to a jump ball, I guess, so. Bit of a confusing course of events, but got things worked out here. And I guess ball don't lie in some scenarios. Johnston gonna take it with the right hand. Oh, unlucky with the bounce. Johnston gonna pull it from 3 this time. Boy.
It's been hard luck for him the last few games. Great looks, inside, outside. Rim just seems a little too tight for him.
That is unlucky. But we're going to get a Mount Abe timeout called with 10 seconds remaining in the first quarter. We'll let the MVU pep band have their say. returning from the Mount Abe timeout. Mount Abe leading 8-6 with possession. 10 seconds left in the first quarter. I'm sure using that timeout for Coach Clark to draw up a final play of the quarter.
MVU looking like they are extending their defense just a little bit more into the Mount Abe backcourt.
Mount Abe with possession. Hayden Lutz passes over to German. MVU called for a foul with 1 second left. Honestly, not the worst foul in the world in that situation. Team foul is about to reset anyway. So Gavin Nichols with the first personal. Fourth team, 1 second exactly left on the clock.
Just no fouls, as Coach Walker would say, just up straight.
Funky with the three, no good. And after one, the Eagles with a narrow 2-point lead over the Thunderbirds, 8-6.
Certainly a defensive mindset for both squads coming in tonight, knowing that baskets will be at a premium. MVU hanging their hat this year on their defense to, again, turn defense into offense. You'll see, like I said, different types of defenses throughout the night. Not necessarily a stealing defense, just makes you feel uncomfortable and makes you make passes you wouldn't normally make. As we can tell, with Gage Rembert in the game, he's very long, gets deflections, creates a lot of 3-on-2 fast breaks. So MVU very apt to scoring in bunches when their defense is on point.
Well, you don't always have to force turnovers, you just have to keep the other team from scoring.
Absolutely. And it's a whole uncomfortable feeling too. Put them in situations that they're not used to. Put the ball in hands of people who are not used to having the ball in their hands. Sometimes you can get away with it.
So we start the second quarter. MVU with possession. It will be off of Mount Abe. Hayden Lutz, who that's sort of a case of being at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Absolutely. When you're on the floor like that, not a good sign.
Right, he was adamant he didn't touch the ball. It just kind of bounced off his back. Is basically what happened. And we're going to get a foul this time called on Mount Abe.
MVU looking to spread their offense, not necessarily going with a post-up presence, spreading the defense of Mount Abe and trying to hit the gaps off the dribble.
Mount Abe foul called on number 13, Cooper Cook. That's his first, team's first of the second quarter. Myers with the ball outside the three-point line. Look around, gets to the high post. Chevrier, he kicks it out to the corner. The drive, oh, excellent find from Rich to Gage Rembert on the block. Rembert's first points of the night ties the game at 8.
Dribble penetration causes the defense to collapse and contract, creating those open baseline shots.
Baseline jumper, no good for Cook. Long rebound gathered by Lutz. Down low to Funky. Funky doesn't get the shot to fall, but does get fouled. He'll go to the line for 2 free throws.
Must have been a lot of body underneath. It looked like Chevrier had his hands straight up. You need to teach the principle of verticality.
MVU foul on number 1, Caden Chevrier. That's his first, team's first. Funky hits the first free throw. Goes 2 for 2. Ian Funky with 8 of Mount Abe's 10 points so far. Mount Abe with a 10-8 lead. Rich in the corner, goes down low. Gage Rembert with the last 4 MVU points. Ties the game at 10 and forces the turnover. Leads the break. Gavin Nichols finishes it off, gives MVU, I think, their first lead of the game at 12-10.
Defense into offense.
Rembert My goodness, Dave Brembert everywhere over the last minute for the Thunderbirds, offensively and defensively. Got a steal, got a block, has their last 4 points.
Rembert is a confidence kid. He gets a couple baskets, he gets a couple blocks. He's into the game, his head is up.
Wild shot from Rich. Rebounded by Nichols. He's fouled on the putback. He'll go to the line to shoot 2.
MVU not overly big, so it needs to be rebound by committee. Gavin Nichols not afraid to mixing it up with the trees underneath of Mount Abe.
Mount Abe foul on number 13, Cooper Cook. That's his second, team second. Nichols hits the first.
I want to get something, but I can't.
Nichols 2 for 2 from the line. He has 4 points.
Mom, when I went over here to read all of it.
MVU with on an 8-2 run here to start the second quarter.
Certainly settled in after that first quarter. Get back to what they do best, creating turnovers in the backcourt.
Lutz passing it down to Prouty. Prouty loses it, goes out of bounds. It'll be Thunderbird possession.
Eagles have the right idea. Spread out MVU with their defense. Try to hit those gaps between the defenders and see what MVU does. Do they collapse?
Nichols drives. Gonna be off of a Mount Abe player. So Johnston will inbound for the Thunderbirds on the baseline. Out to Nichols, back to Johnston. Johnston gonna drive baseline. Takes it back out to Nichols. 2-man game here between Nichols and Johnston. Johnston will set things up at the top. Over to Myers. Nichols, long 3. That one no good. Off a Thunderbird hand.
Really good box out by number 14, Ethan Chase on Rembert.
Eagles break the full court press. Prouty stuck down low, kicks it out. Nichols got a hand in there and knocked the ball out of bounds.
Always getting the hands in the passing lanes, causing those turnovers. Maybe you get a deflection off an offensive player and you'll get the ball back.
Baseline jumper, no good for Lutz. As you mentioned, even if you don't get the steal and you just knock it out of bounds, that makes the offense have to think a little bit about their passes. Is right there, Mount Abe.
Absolutely.
Mount Abe with the steal, Brembert with the block, and then Mount Abe just finishes it right off.
MVU needs to make sure they've got everyone's back off a defensive play.
MVU, even with their run recently, getting some unlucky. The rims are not serving them well here on senior night. Let's cross-court pass to Chase. Chase lays it in.
Always on the front foot, always attacking that defense. If they stay in that zone defense, MVU may need to change.
Johnson double teamed. Ledoux with the steal. Misses the layup. But right there, Hayden Lutz. That's why you never give up on the play. And we are going to get an MVU timeout. Mount Abe back on top, 16-14 with 4:19 to go. Now that we have a moment, this broadcast would not be possible without our community partners. Thank you to Northwestern Rehab Services, Sticks and Stuff from Swanton Lumber, Northwest Counseling and Support Services, Afterglow, Stone's Auto Repair, St. Albans, East Fairfield, Notch, Vermont, JC Image, Union Bank, and the Collins Pearly Sports and Fitness Center. If your business would like to support the efforts of Northwest Access TV to help broadcast live games of Franklin County athletes, contact 802-782-8676.
That was a good timeout by Coach Walker. Just remind his guys, you've got to sprint down the court. You can't give up on a play. Don't assume someone on your team is going to get the ball. Mount A just beat everybody else down the floor, getting these second chance points to get them the lead again.
Yeah, and that's the thing that also kills a coach. It's not just one guy that beat you down the floor. It was multiple because, as you said, they had that putback. Johnston on the right side, up to Nichols, almost stolen, but Nichols gets in the lane, hits the floater. Nichols has 6 points, ties the game at 16, halfway through the second quarter.
Very popular shot by Gavin Nichols. Coach Walker loves practicing that shot every day in practice.
Well, you know, that type of lane floater, generally, kids aren't tall enough in Vermont high school basketball to really have the super long arms to knock those away. So if you get those high floaters, I mean, just no stopping it.
No, and if you have the speed to get by your first defender up front,
Absolutely.
you're going to have those chances, multiple chances throughout the game.
What a find. Gavin Nichols finishes it off on the long pass from Reed Myers. Myers got that rebound, immediately looked up the court to find Nichols streaking. Funky misses the layup. Myers, three-pointer up for Sherman, no good. Funky gets the rebound, just taken right away by Tabor Rich, who is fouled. We'll get 2 free throws.
He was not going to be denied on getting that rebound, just took it away from Funky.
That is Ian Funky's second personal foul. That's the third team foul for Mount Abe in the quarter. Tabor Rich at the line for 2 shots. Misses the first.
Funky's going to have to sit down probably for the rest of the half with 2 fouls.
Well, and it's, you know, if you're Coach Clark, you kind of have to at least think about it a little bit as Rich goes 0 for 2. Johnston doesn't follow. Rich now, this time, gets the putback, gets fouled. He'll go to the line for a traditional 3-point play.
Would not be denied on that. Missed those foul shots, felt a little angry about it, went and got it again and scored. And
In a healthy way to let out your anger.
absolutely.
Say that foul on number 11, Hayden Lutz. That's his first, team's fourth. So with 3:06 remaining, next Mount Abe foul, MVU will be in the bonus. We'll say, you know, Coach Clark at least has to think about what to do with Ian Funky a little bit because he has the bulk of their points. But you also sort of have to preserve that for the second half.
Absolutely. So you got to think long term. You may have to go into the halftime down a few, but if you can save him for a majority of the second half, I think it's worth the gamble.
Tabor Rich missed the free throw. Nonetheless, MVU up by 4, 20-16. 2:45 to go in the first quarter. Three-pointer up, nailed it. Hayden Lutz. He has 5 points, brings Mount Abe within 1, trailing 20-19. Nichols tries to answer, bounces off, rebounded by Griffin. Lutz with a leaner, trying to draw a foul, no call. Loose ball picked up by Ledoux. Ledoux shovel pass over to Lutz, who finishes it off. Lutz with the last 5 points for Mount Abe, and now gives them a 1-point lead, up 21-20. 2 minutes to go until halftime. MVU kind of slowing down their offense a little bit, trying to settle in.
Mount Abe trying to extend their 2-3 defense, deny that high post pass, but then able to get inside though.
Tabor Rich just found that seam in the zone. He has 6 points. Rich gonna be called for a foul that time. Got caught on a wicked pump fake. And that is foul number 2 on Tabor Rich. Team's second.
MVU staying in the zone, out of bounds.
A little pass in, Cooper Cook couldn't connect. MVU with the rebound. Nichols brings the ball up for the Thunderbirds. Into the corner to Johnston. Johnston still looking for that three to connect. Rebounded by Lutz. Lutz, long pass to Ledoux. Another long pass.
MVU extending, taking a lot of chances defensively to try to create something on the outside.
Another block by Gage Rembert. These are the type of games that I really wish we had a stat guy. I'd love to see how many blocks Gage Rembert has
well,
right now.
kind of a rough count. I would say that's about 4 so far in the first half.
We'll take that rough count. Long three. No good for Lutz. Rebounded by Rembert.
Lucier battling as well amongst the trees.
Nichols over to Myers. Back to Nichols up top. Myers looking around.
Wondering if Coach Walker wants to sit on it for the rest of the half or take what they are given here with less than 40 seconds to go.
Just going to say, not a ton of movement here on this possession. Rembert kind of having to run back and forth in the lane, but everyone else content passing around the three-point line. But as you said, with a lead and within striking distance of the end of the half, unfortunately, that's not the ending for that possession that you'd hope for. That leads to Noah Ledoux giving Mount Abe a 1-point lead. 10 seconds to go. 5 seconds. Myers gonna drive, step back three. No good, and that's gonna do it for the first half. Mount Abe with a 23-22 lead. Before we send it to halftime, over the last 4 years, Northwestern Counseling and Support Services has been in partnership with the Afterglow Foundation, working to prevent suicide deaths in our community. If you are concerned about yourself or a loved one, there are people in our community that can help. Reach out to NCSS 24 hours a day on our confidential emergency services line at 802-524-6554, then press 1. Or you can always dial 988. One call could save a life. At the half, Mount Abe up 23-22 on the Thunderbirds. We will be back for the second half action here at the Thunderdome. Thunderdome. Bryce Batchelder along with John Nielsen tonight. The Mount Abe Eagles with a slim 1-point lead over the MVU Thunderbirds, 23-22, scoring leaders so far. Ian Funky and Gavin Nichols leading all players in the game, each with 8 points. Hayden Lutz for the Eagles with 7. And for the Thunderbirds, Tabor Rich with 6 so far. Not a high-scoring game, no one in double digits yet. A very defensive game.
Yeah, it's in very contrasting styles with the leading scorers as well, where we have the big man in Funky getting a lot of second chance points with his rebounding prowess, and Nichols teaming with Reed Myers to create those defensive takeaways and creating some fast break points for him. We should probably see a little more of that as we head into this second half.
As we get started here, this broadcast would not be possible without our community partners. Thank you to Northwestern Rehab Services, Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber, Northwest Counseling and Support Services, Afterglow, Stone's Auto Repair, St. Albans, East Fairfield, Notch, Vermont, JC Image, Union Bank, and the College Pearly Sports and Fitness Center. Long three, good for Hayden Lutz. As we say it, now the first player in double digits with 10 points. Eagles up 26-22. Kids these days don't know how to respect a good ad read. Allow me to finish. If your business would like to support the efforts of Northwest Access TV to help broadcast live games of Franklin County athletes, contact 802-782-8676.
MVU trying to see what they can see with the defensive structure of Mount Abe. MVU just willing to just pass it up top to start this possession.
Gets the high block down to Chevrier. Kicks it back out to Johnston. Johnston in the corner. Finds Tabor Rich underneath the hoop, cutting across the lane. That dime was right on target. Rich with 8 points. Brings the Thunderbirds within 2, trailing 24-26.
Very impressed with Cole Johnston and his patience as any scorer who wants to score, perhaps at times forces things. He was very patient and got the ball to a more wide open person for an easier 2 points.
MVU foul on number 22, Gavin Nichols. That's his second. Team's first of the third quarter. You know, you mentioned the patience. I was almost going to say MVU's kind of trying to move the defense, but they're doing it a little too slowly for anything meaningful. And then, right as I was thinking that, they had the open look down low. So this is why I coach 3-year-old basketball and not the varsity.
Well, you got to start somewhere, Bryce, and that's okay.
Working on the flex offense with the 3-year-olds. That's right.
That's right, 5-out flex offense. That's the game. That's the modern game now. No more back to the basket, post up,
Well,
stretch everybody wide, see if you get some shooters or people who can drive to the basket.
just waiting for the 4 corners to come back.
I don't think it ever went away. It's just, it seems to be lost in translation a lot of times.
Another foul called on number 22, Gavin Nichols. That's his third, team's second. And we're getting an offensive foul now called on Mount Abe. So the first half was very defensive. Now we're getting a whole bunch of fouls called.
The referees may have had a discussion at halftime to make sure that they kind of clean some things up they may have saw in the first half here in the second.
Well, and even more significantly, that's the third personal foul on number 34, Ian Funky. Team's first of the third quarter.
Remaining in the game, though.
Oh, did not fall for Tabor Rich, but credit Gage Rembert with an excellent dime.
That high post entry pass is becoming very effective for the Thunderbirds as they use the baseline as a very formidable area to get the ball up and hopefully in.
Shot no good for Tabor Rich. Eagles with the rebound. Hayden Lutz dribbles up. To Ledoux, back to Lutz. Ledoux goes baseline, trying to get that pass up to the free throw line where Ian Funky was standing, but credit MVU's zone defense. That's the pass that they're looking for, and their hands are in the lane.
That's a quick collapse around the ball in the high post.
Remember, passes back out. Myers with the three, no good. We'll see which way the referee's called off of MVU. I know MVU arguing. I actually think that that's the right call.
Hard to see from this angle.
We don't have a great
no
angle here. Our camera person has a much better angle. I'm sure he would make the right call more than I would.
Rembert with another challenge at the rim, causing that awkward shot.
Myers to the corner. Nichols brings it back up top. Back over to Myers on the right side.
MVU trying to sneak Nichols on the baseline to see if he can get some quick hoops underneath as well.
Rich with the drive, keeps himself on lucky bounce. Long pass up to Ledoux. Ledoux with the reverse layup, no good. They're gonna credit the points to Funky, but I actually think that it might have been off Johnston's hand.
Lots of hands in there.
Rembert gonna pull up, uses bank. He has 6 points and be back within two, 26-28. 3.5 to go in the third quarter. Drive into the lane, takes it back out. Jump shot, no good for Griffin. The follow, no good for Lutz. MVU pushing it the other way. Nichols. MVU's really quick in the transition to get it into the half court, and then if they don't see any sort of fast break opportunity, they slow it way down to run their half court offense.
That's great patience. Use displeasure of that foul towards the Eagle player.
I think some of it too was the reaction of the Eagles team. And that was actually some of the argument that I think Coach Walker is trying to make, that essentially he was sort of goaded into it by their reaction. But ultimately, coaches don't have the final say here. Referee is going to sort this out.
This is true.
But that is the second personal on Gage Rembert. Remind me, John, do technicals count as personal fouls?
They will count as,
Okay,
so that should be his third.
Should be 3. Does it count as a team foul as well?
It does. I believe it does.
Which
Now,
means
unless something
Mount
has
Abe,
changed.
Mount Abe could be in the bonus for the remaining 3 minutes.
Speaker's wondering if you're still muted.
Lutz 0 for 2. 0 for 1. I say 0 for 2. I think those first 2 were the technical free throws. Now this is the shooting foul. And Mount Abe will get possession back, which is why nobody is lined up at the key. But Hayden Lutz goes 0 for 3 from the line. So technical aside, MVU dodges a little bit of a bullet. Let's see how they can get away from this defensive possession.
Yeah, Mount A players getting involved with the fans.
And a smart timeout that Coach Clark is going to call here to try to gather his team a little bit as the MVU student section trying to call a timeout. MVU student section definitely starting to get into Mount Abe's head a little bit. Smart timeout called by Martin Clark with 2:49 to go in the third quarter.
Absolutely, that's a veteran coach. Just want to make sure calmer heads prevail here. just reminding them that fans aren't going to be the outcome of this game. You need to focus on the task at hand, both defensively and offensively, and just stay the course. MVU yet to find the offensive flow in this quarter as of yet. But a lot of quarter left to go. This timeout also helps MVU kind of calm everyone down, right? Give back to what was making them successful in the first half.
MVU making a few more uncharacteristic turnovers on their offensive sets the last few trips,
and the ball's just not happening to go in the rim.
Yep.
It's just sometimes that happens at certain stages of the game, and that's how you respond to those. Doesn't go our way, so what do we do?
So after the timeout, 2:49 left in the third quarter. Mount Abe still holding on to their 4-point lead at 30-26. Corner three up, no good, rebounded by Hayden Lutz. Ledoux dribbles it up, back to Lutz. Lutz, cross-court pass to Griffin. Griffin back up top to Ledoux.
MVU certainly looks different without Rembert in, having those long arms, deflecting those passes.
MVU seems a little more aggressive too here on this defensive effort. Three, no good for Griffin. Rebounded by Chevrier. Reed Myers. Carried up for the Thunderbirds. Nichols looking around.
Eagles
Corner
definitely
three.
taking away that high post entry.
Tabor Rich gonna make him pay for that decision. Hits the corner three. Now he has 11 points. Brings MVU back within one, trailing 29-30.
That's new this year for Tabor. A lot of post-up game last year. He's really extended his game, increased his range, becoming that threat now. Don't be surprised to see him take the ball on the wing the next time and drive to the basket.
Reed Myers reaching in from behind to knock the ball away from Ethan Chase. Mount Abe still recovers, but kept Chase from getting an open baseline look. Lutz looking around, passes cross court to Cook. Cook with a spin. Two MVU defenders right there. Caden Chevrier with the hustle to take the ball away. Under a minute to go in the third quarter. Nichols gonna drive, kicks it to the corner. Rich, he'll drive. A little out of control, but still drew the foul nonetheless.
That threat of the outside shot, the last possession, created that space for him to attack into the teeth of the Mount Abe defense.
Mount Abe foul on number 14, Ethan Chase. That's his first, team's second. Tabor Rich at the line for 2 free throws.
He's been a matchup difficulty for Mount Abe tonight. Do you put a quick kid on him, or do you put a bigger kid on him? He may not be overly big himself, but he gets the job done.
Sometimes you just need a little hustle to you.
A little grit, a
Overcome
little
any of
hustle, absolutely.
Rich misses both. And we're going to get an MVU foul on the rebound.
Just put them over the limit.
Called on number 2, Reed Myers, his first, but as you mentioned, John, team's 5th. If there's a silver lining to that, only 46 seconds remaining in the quarter, and then team fouls reset. But Ian Funky at the line to shoot 2. Gets the first. Goes 1 for 2. Funky has 11 points, but offensive rebound to Mount Abe. Funky go to the line for 2 more.
Offensive rebounds can come back to haunt you if you don't box your guy out. And that was the case there.
And that MVU foul on number 20, Tabor Rich, his third. Funky hits the first. Let's see if he can avoid a repeat of the last two. He does, goes 2 for 2 this time, has 13 points. Puts Mount Abe back up by 4, 33-29. 37 seconds to go in the third quarter. Myers, plotting, will get a kick off of Lutz's foot. 33 seconds remaining. Johnston inbounds up to Myers. Over to Nichols. Finds Rich. Rich going baseline. Loses the ball. Recovered by the Eagles. 20 seconds to go in the quarter.
Quick hands by the Eagles, causing that turnover.
10 seconds. 3-pointers up and good for Hayden Lutz. 4 seconds. And you're going to have to put it up. Nichols off the bank at the buzzer.
If you were looking for a little momentum, MVU certainly just found that heading into the final quarter here to cut that lead to 4.
Well, yeah, I mean, and not just momentum, but the way that how tight this game has been, if Mount Abe had gone into the fourth quarter with a 7-point lead, it would almost feel insurmountable. But to cut that down to 4 at the buzzer, it's only 3 points, but it feels like it's a totally different ballgame in that case.
Absolutely. And the way this game has been progressing, those extra possessions seem like an eternity and a large hill to climb. These are one of those games where first one to 45 or the first one to 48 will win this game based on the amount of possessions that each team is limited to based on their defense.
Well, we're set for a great finish here in the fourth quarter as they accidentally made MVU score 133, which I'm sure they might prefer that type of lead going into the fourth quarter.
I didn't know the scoreboard could go that high. That's good. That's good to know.
Never went that high when I played here. I'll just say that. I will say, as an exciting finish to the game, you could be part of this. Northwest Access TV is looking for part-time videographers. If you're interested in media production and recording other community events, please check out the Jobs tab at northwestaccess.tv for more information. Training can be provided for the right candidate. And that is what's called a segue into a read.
Very well done.
I know. And this is why I volunteer.
Yeah.
Still working on the clock here, or the scoreboard, still at 1:31.
The trainer seems to be working on Tabor Rich as well. Looks like a cut on his hand. Try to get him back in the game.
We have also not seen Rembert come back in since his technical, although he is up on the bench.
Okay, that's good to see. Sometimes when you have a technical call on you, you take that very personally and you think you're letting your team down. Hopefully the coaches sat him down and said, you're the reason why we're in this position, so we're going to need you. You got to get your head back in the game.
Hayden Lutz with the rebound for Mount Abe. We're going to set it back up. Shot no good. Johnston keeps it inbounds, gets it to Myers.
Myers been very quiet tonight as well. They're missing his production.
Now, one note, at the end of the quarter, I think they've changed the three-pointer to a 2, which I believe is why the scoreboard shows 36. Should show 31. It's 131 now, but that is good for a three-pointer. Gavin Nichols says you're going to take it away at the end of the quarter. I'll just hit one right now. Brings MVU back within 2, 34-36.
That seemed to be what the clock needed to adjust itself back to normal.
Pass picked off, Caden Chevrier. Reed Myers handling the ball. Back to Chevrier. That shot just short, but kept in bounds by Taberge. Giving it back to Chevrier. Chevrier working hard down there. Hasn't paid off with a basket quite yet.
Chevier drew a lot of attention. I think he had Johnston on the weak side wing for a 3.
MVU foul on number 15, Drew Taberge. That's his second, team's first of the fourth quarter. MVU keeping up their full court press. Mount A breaks it easily. Down low to Funky. Funky trying to connect with Chase. Pass a little bit too high, goes out of bounds. Go back to the Thunderbirds. Drew Taberge setting up right at the free throw line. He's already clapping his hands, trying to call attention. Nichols in the corner.
Very dangerous pass.
It sure was. Still made it through. Johnston for 3. That one's short. And Griffin gonna land out of bounds on the rebound. It will stay Thunderbird possession.
Second chances here for MVU. See how they respond.
Johnston in the corner. Somehow ball ends up in Taberge's hand. Now Rembert. Baseline jumper is good. He has 8 points, but more importantly, ties the game at 36. MVU recovering from a 5-point deficit.
Nice shot by Cook.
Cook doesn't keep it tied for long. His perfect time for his first points of the night for the Eagles.
Son of a former MVU standout, Sarah Dodd.
Ball goes out of bounds. It will stay on that end. John, I didn't realize that tidbit. Again,
Yes,
thank you for doing more research than I did before the game.
Sarah usually makes the trip up to MVU, and she's in the crowd tonight, supporting her son and seeing some old fans and some old teammates here tonight.
They may take umbrage with you describing them as old, but
Experience.
experience.
We'll call them experience.
Veteran.
Yes, veteran.
Veteran friends and fans. Nichols with the ball. MVU got pretty lucky on the sideline. Could have been called out of bounds, but turns the ball over. Griffin misses the layup, but Funky with the offensive rebound.
Second chance points, perhaps, for Mount A. They gave him these second chances. Might come back to haunt MVU.
There have been a shocking amount of cross-court passes in this game. I'm surprised more of them haven't been picked off, frankly.
Typically a very dangerous pass
Yes.
at any level.
Loose ball still gathered by Griffin. He's fouled. He's going to shoot 2.
Reed Myers always in that go, go, go phase. Perhaps should have held on to the ball a little bit longer.
Myers called for the foul, his second, team second. Griffin hits the first. Credit Griffin, though, with the turnover, but not giving up on it.
Absolutely.
Getting the ball right back.
As a coach, you want that to be part of every makeup of your player. Never give up on the ball, always hustling.
You just have to keep looking to the next play. Misses the free throw, Rembert with the rebound. .347 to go in the fourth quarter. Mount Abe up by 3, 39-36. Down low to Johnston. Johnston off the backboard, no good. Mount Abe with the rebound. Johnston still scoreless tonight.
I like that he's trying different shots. He's working his way in to hopefully get himself some confidence. So when he does have those opportunities on a three-point line, he feels that he can stroke it.
Ian Funky fouled on the offensive rebound. MVU foul on number 14, Cole Johnston. His first, team's third. Mount Abe yet to be called for a foul in this quarter.
Fouls and foul shots looming large potentially these last 3 minutes of the game. It may come down to a situation where MVU needs to foul to stop the clock.
Give you some scoring leaders so far late in the game. For Mount Abe, Ian Funky and Hayden Lutz, each with 13 points. For MVU, Gavin Nichols leading his team with 13, Tabor Rich with 11, and Gage Rembert with 8. The foul situation, Ian Funky with 3 personals, collected those in, collected his third foul in the third quarter, has played a clean game since. For MVU, Gavin Nichols and Tabor Rich, each with 3 personal fouls. So far neither team has any player with those 4 personals that they have to start playing extra careful. But could come into play if MVU has to start playing the foul game further along in the fourth quarter.
They have to be judicious with their fouls as well, of who exactly is committing those fouls. Myers, Nichols need to be in the game during crunch time. I think Tabor has 3 as well, so he needs to be careful.
Mount Abe inbounds the ball. Funky up top. Over to Lutz. Lutz looking around.
MVU extending their defense just a little bit more on the ball handler.
Could potentially open up the lane for Abe if they recognize that. Down to Cook, down low to Funky. Funky uses the backboard. He has 15. Puts Mount Abe back up 5, 41-36.
Yes, the senior showing his experience in those situations, using the glass, getting in front of his defender.
Nichols dribbles over to the left side. Now Rich drives baseline, finds Rembert on the opposite block. Just gets the ball over to the corner. Now Reed Myers down low to Rembert.
Tough catch.
Nichols. Rich back to Myers.
A lot of time taken off the clock here by the Thunderbirds.
Just gonna say MVU may have to start speeding up their offense a little bit. They are getting a little bit more movement, but got to get the shot opportunities off a little faster here.
You need to think about getting downhill, north-south a little bit more, too much east-west. That's fine, but if you see a gap within this last 2 minutes, you got to try to hit those gaps and get to the rim.
Mount Abe foul on number 11, Hayden Lutz. That's his second, team's first of the fourth quarter. And Rembert stepped out of bounds, turned back over to the Eagles.
See if MVU dials up the defense a little bit more here.
Coach Clark trying to call timeout. Finally gets it with 1:46 to go in the fourth quarter, holding on to a 5-point lead, 41-36, here on senior night.
Coach Clark just reiterating to his guys about MVU is going to be starting to throw everything but the kitchen sink here in the last couple of minutes defensively. Run your press rate. move the ball, get the ball to the center of the court, and look opposite. That's how you beat the press. Coach Walker, on the other hand, may be thinking about changing up, showing a different look defensively, and hopefully causing those turnovers and making the Eagles feel more uncomfortable, and maybe getting the ball back. So MVU looking to create turnovers, get stops, make shots. Hopefully they can get inside the paint. Don't rely on the three-pointer too awful much.
Yeah, it really is kind of polar opposite mindsets these teams have to have right now. As you're saying, MVU probably going to start seeing them taking a few more risks on defense.
Absolutely.
But for the Eagles, this is where they have to be the most measured and calculated and calm. And as I say that, we have a turnover in the corner back to the Thunderbirds.
Just the pace of play, picked up the pace of play defensively, causing that turnover, making them make a pass they wouldn't normally make.
Minute and a half to go in the fourth quarter. Johnston, to his left, kicks it out to Nichols. Nichols three, no good. Griffin ends up with the rebound. Those are the type of fouls you want to avoid, though, if you're MVU. Although, given their deficit, it will put the Eagles into the bonus a little quicker.
MVU's thought right now is you're not playing against Mount Abe, you're playing against the clock.
Yeah.
The clock is the enemy. We need to be cognizant of that. If you can slow the game down as much as possible, you need to do it.
Eagles, 2 possessions in a row, throwing it away. The other end, Gavin Nichols. 15 points on the night.
Quick timeout by Coach Walker.
Maybe this is a philosophical conversation that we can have, John, about timeout use in these situations. I am almost of the mind that force a couple turnovers, sort of have them on their heels a little bit, maybe keep pushing and make them have to call a timeout, but can also see the other way of let's get ourselves set. So what are your thoughts? What's your mentality with that?
The clock is always a predictor of that. So if you have a lot of time, I would tend to agree with you. We're a little over a minute. Don't need to call a timeout.
Sure.
Gives the defense a chance to, or offense a chance to really think about how they're going to try to break down this defense. It does give MVU a chance to change things up too if they wanted to. Do they go man? Do they stay zone? What's the look we're going to give them?
So very much situational timeouts here, and situational game planning. Eagles break the press. To be honest, I think Tabor Rich may have gotten away with a foul on that one, but MVU gonna take it.
The Eagles did change their press break as well, sent someone long, had an open layup, just missed it. MVU gets the defensive rebound and
Eagle
a foul.
Oh, excuse me. Eagle foul on number 2, Noah Ledoux. That's his first, team second. Under a minute, 55 seconds. 1 possession game.
Still need to look at a 2. You don't need a 3 here. If you get something good inside, you take it.
Nichols back to Rich. Rich drives baseline. There's the 2, but misses just short on the layup. I think maybe a little too far under the backboard to get a clean look at it. Emmy trying to force the turnover. There it is, almost. Cook just saves it for the Eagles. That's one of those where you have to think if you're in the backcourt, you're trying to force the turnover. As soon as they get into the front court, then you have to think about fouling. And that'll be number 4 on Gavin Nichols. Ian Funky at the line to shoot 2 bonus free throws. Almost had the turnover.
MVU
Almost.
hoping that the Eagles miss their foul shots. The clock is stopped. Still think 27 seconds left. If you push the ball, get a 2, get a timeout.
Funky goes 1 for 2. He has 16 points.
They need to
MVU
push the
with
ball,
rebound.
though.
20 seconds to go. Rich over to Nichols, up to Johnston. Back to Nichols.
The Eagles extending their defense on the perimeter
10
as
seconds.
well.
It's a two-possession game. MVU has to get a shot up. Running out of time. Eagles playing this one perfectly. That shot no good. That's the ball game. Eagles going to come away with a win, 42-38. Before we send this one away, this broadcast would not be possible without our community partners. Thank you to Northwestern Rehab Services, Stixie Step and Swanton Lumber, Northwest Counseling and Support Services, Afterglow, Stone's Auto Repair, St. Albans, East Fairfield, Knox Vermont, JC Image, Union Bank, and the Collins Pearly Sports and Fitness Center. If your business would like to support the efforts of Northwest Access TV to help broadcast live games of Franklin County athletes, contact 802-782-8676 and a message from NCSS. Over the last 4 years, Northwestern Counseling and Support Services has been in partnership with the Afterglow Foundation, working to prevent suicide deaths in our community. If you are concerned about yourself or a loved one, there are people in our community that can help. Reach out to NCSS 24 hours a day on our confidential emergency services line, 802-524-6554. Then press 1, or you can always dial 988. One call could save a life. Before we end the broadcast, John, any final thoughts on the game?
Well, not all is lost. Even MVU evens their record to 9-9. Their goal of having that opening round playoff game at home is still a goal. I think that is attainable. They just need to make sure they can go back to the film. They can certainly dissect it and take apart what they need to move forward in these last 2 games of the season that are going to be on the road. So learn from it. You learn more from your losses than you do from your wins. So again, it's a mentality, it's a mindset. I think they're in a pretty good situation.
As John said, MVU falls to 9-9. Mount Abe improves to 6-12. Some scoring leaders for the game quickly. Ian Funky for Mount Abe, leading all players in the game with 16. Hayden Lutz with 13. For the Thunderbirds, Gavin Nichols led his team with 15. Tabor Rich with 11, and Gage Rembert with 8. Mount Abe travels to Swanton, comes away with the 42-38 victory. Spoils senior night for the Thunderbirds. My name is Bryce Batchelder. Thank you to John Nielsen for joining me this evening.
Pleasure.
Thank you to Hunter, our on-site videographer. Thank you for watching Northwest Access TV, and we will see you next time.